The CDC adds the latest vaccine to adult and childhood immunization schedules. But what will that really mean in practice? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is another Declaration of Truth from your host, Terry A. Hurlbut. Last week, a key CDC panel voted 15-0 to add vaccination against the virus that shall remain nameless to their recommended childhood and adult immunization schedule. The earliest that any state might revise their own schedule to conform to the CDC schedule is February of 2023. And depending on where you live, you might never have to deal with it if you don't want to, because in any event, anyone can choose, even if they have to move to a different state. Before I tell you how and why, I do want to shout out to the prime sponsor of this channel, which is Conservative News and Views. Link in the description. And be sure to check out the awesome CNAV Store. Scroll down near the bottom for that link. Lots of great merchandise there, including this t-shirt that I have chosen for today, which depicts the three monkeys that hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil, except that they're actually earplugged, blindfolded, or gagged with wads of cash. The caption? Money pox. Now, of course, we're not talking about exactly the same thing, but it's close. One more thing. If you like what you're about to hear, you can like this video. You can also click the bell icon to get a notice every time I come out with a new one. In fact, you see the new icon? That's the heart shape with the US dollar sign in it. That's the super thanks icon. If you really want to keep these videos coming, click on that and leave me a tip. Any currency will do. Excuse me, just another moment. Okay, here's where we stand, or where we sit. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, that's the CDC, maintains an advisory committee on immunization practices, or ACIP. On Thursday, October 20th, the ACIP voted 15-0 to add one primary course of any coof jab, that's 2 or 3 shots, and one booster shot to the immunization schedule for adults or children 6 months old or older. I went to Just the News for that story, but I found another. The day before, Just the News reported that the CDC was already trying to disavow any responsibility for a change of immunization schedule that would affect anyone's child. ACIP recommendations are just that, recommendations. No federal law says that any state must follow them, but 31 states do seem to follow them automatically, according to the University of Illinois in Chicago. They put out a 2-page fact sheet in PDF form, so I've left a link in the description to that fact sheet. Download it, look it over. The committee received immediate pushback from at least 2 scientific critics. One of them, a Mr. Jösh Stevenson, his first name is spelled J-O with the dots S-H, by the way, left 9 tweets with charts, graphs, and detailed explanations. Another user named Kelley K left a couple of tweets, but I selected just one that had his own chart. So that's 10 tweets overall, to which I have left links in the description. Their main quarrel with the CDC is that they're making a decision using data that the critics say is false. So, bring up the tweets, study the charts and graphs, make of that what you will. Now, in any case, a CDC spokesman admitted to ABC News that the CDC cannot set immunization rules for schools. That is for state governments, state departments of education, local boards of education to decide. I've left a link in the description to ABC's video containing the interview with that particular spokesperson. Moving right along. From WorldNet Daily and the Epoch Times, I get this story. Many states already forbid any such immunization requirements, or if they don't yet, they soon will. The Epoch Times named 16 states whose governors have definitely refused to add the new shots to school immunization schedules. In alphabetical order, those states are Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, Missouri, Montana, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Utah, Virginia, and Wyoming. And of these 16 states, 12 of their governors left statements on Twitter. And I've left links to the description to all 12. And you'll find Kay Ivey of Alabama, Kristi Noem of South Dakota, very famous name, Glenn Youngkin of Virginia, Kim Reynolds of Iowa, Asa Hutchinson of Arkansas, 7 others. Separately, Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida said shortly after the vote, and I quote, "As long as I'm around and as long as I'm kicking and screaming," his words, "there will be no nameless shot mandates for your kids. That is your decision to make as a parent," unquote, Ron DeSantis. Governor Mike DeWine of Ohio referred everyone to the Ohio Department of Health. They pointed out that the immunization schedule is a matter of law, and only by law can anyone change it. I've left a link in the description to their statement on the matter. WorldNet Daily lists 12 states that bar a nameless virus immunization requirement as a matter of law. They are, they are Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Iowa, Mississippi, Montana, Oklahoma, South Carolina, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Put it all together, eliminate the duplicates, you get 20 states on one or both of these lists. But in addition to these, the governors of California and Maine seem reluctant to mandate an immunization change. Gavin Newsom of California and Janet Mills of Maine don't seem to want to talk about it. Now, let's assume for the sake of argument that you've decided not to follow the guideline for yourself. Well, what do you do if your state is not one of these 20? Before I get into that, I want to shout out to a sponsor who can really help you through the economic storms to come. That sponsor is oursilverlines.com. Do you feel like you're working harder for your money just to get by? You're not alone. The fluctuating economy, employment issues, and unexpected changes in life have left many families struggling over the past few years. Collecting gold and silver can help shield you against many of these challenges, but if you're like me many years ago, you don't know where or how to start. Our Silver Lines can help by connecting you with thousands of members who are learning the secrets to creating and protecting true wealth by collecting precious metals. Now, whether you just want to collect rare and unique coins, or maybe take advantage of the business opportunities that this company provides, either way, they can help you learn to live an exceptional life. Visit oursilverlines.com to learn how you can build a legacy for your future. Now, about what you as an individual can do. Individual exemptions to immunization against almost anything are available, at least in theory, in all 50 states. One can, on one ground or another. The National Conference of State Legislatures has the details, and they also put it up on a map. A resident of any state or the District of Columbia can get a medical exemption if a doctor will certify it. Now that requires a medical examination and an allergy or other adverse event history. 44 states and the District of Columbia offer religious exemptions. The states of California, Connecticut, Maine, Mississippi, New York, and West Virginia do not, but all the rest of them do. And remember, Mississippi and West Virginia, their laws don't allow mandates for the kind of immunization at issue here. Now, of those 44 states that do offer religious exemptions, the following offer philosophical exemptions as well. Arizona, Arkansas, Colorado, Idaho, Louisiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Missouri. That's in a child care facility only, not in a public school. North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Texas, and Utah. The interesting part about Louisiana and Minnesota is that their laws don't specifically mention a religious exemption, but since they allow philosophical exemptions, that includes religion. At least no court has ever said no in either state. Governor Glenn Youngkin of Virginia put himself into an interesting position. As I list in the governor's tweet section of the description, he recently spoke out against an immunization mandate. But he probably will have to push for a repeal of House Bill 1000, which provides that Virginia follows the CDC Advisory Committee recommendation. The General Assembly passed that law back in 2020, excuse me, and then Governor Ralph Northam signed that one into law. Now, since then, not only do we have Governor Youngkin, Republican, and not Governor McAuliffe, the Democrat, who tried to get back into the governor's mansion last year, but Virginia also flipped the House of Delegates. The General Assembly is out of session now and won't come back into session until next year. Governor Youngkin might try to repeal House Bill 1000 next year. Or if he can't get the General Assembly to cooperate, he might put in an executive order saying they're just not going to do that. Either way, this becomes a campaign issue for the off-year election for the Virginia Senate in next fall. In addition to sitting governors, gubernatorial candidates have come out against this guidance too. Kelley K of Arizona, Doug Mastriano in Pennsylvania, both said they would not allow that kind of mandate on their watch. Arizona already forbids that kind of thing by law. Pennsylvania doesn't, but you can apply for a philosophical exemption in either state. The National Conference of State Legislatures reports that Connecticut slid backward on the matter of exemption. They once did allow a religious exemption, and they don't anymore. Bottom line, the USA looks to me to be about ready to run as close to a controlled prospective incident study on immunization against the virus that shall remain nameless as it could possibly run. People will sort themselves out one way or another into the experimental and control groups. Then perhaps we will see how safe and effective that kind of immunization really is compared to risking infection. Now, a lot of people out there on each side of the debate are going to tell you that a bunch of people are going to die if they don't take the choice they want you to make. All we have at this point is a combination of speculation and numbers that each side will accept but the other one won't. Maybe, no guarantees, but maybe we'll get some harder numbers out of this experience that will help individuals make decisions both in the doctor's office and at the polling place. And remember, you do have options. They might be harder on one side or the other, but they are there. Link in the description to the article, to that fact sheet from University of Illinois, Chicago, to Jösh Stevenson's 9 tweets, to Kelley K's tweet, to the ABC News segment in which the CDC said they can't issue mandates on their own, to 12 tweets from state governors, each saying, "Not on my watch," to the statement by the Ohio Department of Health, and to conservative news and views. I've also left links to the awesome CNAV Store and to rsilverlines.com, as I also mentioned. You know already about how to like a video, turn on notifications, and leave a tip. And on the end screen, I'm going to leave a subscribe link, a link to that ABC segment, and links to maybe 1 or 2 other videos that I've already done touching on this subject, even if peripherally. This is Terry A. Hurlbut delivering another declaration of truth and reminding you to let the truth set you free.